Well, hello everyone. We're talking to people in a pandemic. I'm Roger Haskett. So we were talking previously about fighting to be positive, priority shifting, how really what I think what we're going to be seeing on the other side of this pandemic is a new normal with a much deeper, I hope, and I think, connection to our humanness, and that we are going to see this connection to our humanness push itself into our work life, and totally, I believe, start to reconfigure what our work-life balance, or more likely, what our work-life harmony really should be. I've been hearing this now for, I would say, a week, that it's been coming stronger and stronger from different angles. I'm hearing it through discussions with people through work, as well as casual discussions with friends and other people in my life. And what I'm hearing over and over is that people are already, after like 3-4 weeks, we're already starting to recognize that our priorities need to shift, and that our priorities, what our priorities used to be, before pandemic, so BP, before pandemic, are not acceptable anymore. That there's a growing understanding that the way we are living our life was unsustainable and relatively wretched, that our priorities had become totally misguided with far too much attention on things that relate to work, or things that relate to consumption, or things that relate to that concept of, I don't even understand, like the doing better than the Joneses type of idea, that I will judge my worth based on what visible things I can put into my life, like what kind of car or house I have, or how many times I go on vacation. And that all of these things are going to start to be examined through a different focus, a different filter. And that different filter is a better appreciation, a stronger appreciation for what makes us human, and like what makes us into the best humans, and what is the best way that we want to live our life. So I say that because I was talking to someone today, Laura, who's in my book. Every time I talk to Laura, I feel like I need to write a new chapter. She's amazing. And hey, Laura. Hey. And we were talking about this shifting priorities. And she was like, Roger, what I'm thinking is that we're shifting our emotional priorities. And I was like, tell me more about that. I want to hear. That sounds perfect and awesome and exciting. And she was like, yeah, like my emotional priorities are starting to really shift. I'm looking at what I used to do, BP, before pandemic, and where I used to, say, oh, I'm going to have to cancel this because this thing has popped up, or I'm going to have to move this because that thing has happened. And she was like, I look even now, 3 weeks later, going, what was I thinking? I made lots of choices. This is what she's saying. I made lots of choices that were emotionally suspect. And she said, I was also making lots of choices for people who are emotionally suspect. Like people who were forcing me into not doing things that I think are important for me as a person, and forcing me to sort of turn away from that, like family and friends and non-work stuff, and turn towards doing these very specific work things. So this is what I'm hearing more and more. I think this is super exciting. I think that this is massively exciting for us. I was talking to someone else today on Zoom about how the humanness and mental health is rising up as even more of a presence in our work mental world. That our mental health and our ability to be human at work has become, in 4 weeks, even more important. I wonder what else this pandemic is going to teach us. I just saw a great meme that said, oh, I wish I had it up. And it said, we have got to learn as a species to cut our emissions, to slow down, to change our priorities, to focus on the things that we need to do to deal with climate change. And then the world goes, in the meme, the world goes, sorry, we can never do that. And then humans say, we can never do that. And then the world responds by saying, well, let me give you a little practice run with a pandemic. And all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, this pandemic is forcing us to learn some things about ourselves and about our cultures. Some of them great, some of them not so great. And the things that are great, we want to continue and embrace and do more of. And the things that are not so great, we want to start saying goodbye to. Don't we? We want to say, hey, you're in my rearview mirror now. I'm not even seeing you anymore, except as I say bye-bye. That is what I believe. We are now, as a species, we have rolling out in front of us this opportunity to change the way that we consider our daily activity and our work-life harmony and our consumption and our race to keep up with other people. All of that gets now thrown into the hopper of what's going to come out the other side. Like, I think of it maybe more like a meat grinder. Sorry, vegans. I should think of a better one. Maybe it's not meat, maybe just grinding up whatever. But like you throw a bunch of things in and it all grinds up and comes out like, mixed up as a sausage or whatever it happens to be. Our choice now is, what's that sausage going to be? That sounds sort of weird. What is our world going to be? Like, what's it going to be? We are going to have more chance about choosing that now than we did 3 months ago. And that is one thing to be grateful for in this pandemic. Like, there's a lot of things not to be grateful for. And if you have been touched horribly by this pandemic, almost everyone has on some level. So we've all been touched horribly. That still doesn't mean that there cannot be a silver lining, that there cannot be something good in the midst of all this nastiness. And I believe that there is. I believe actually there's more and more good that is starting to peep out because of what we are learning from this pandemic. And the things that are peeping out are things that allow us to be more human in our life. I think that's a really good step in the right direction. All right, I'm Roger Haskett. We're talking to people in a pandemic, and we're going to continue these conversations. If you have things that you'd like me to talk about, please reach out to me, either LinkedIn me or put a comment in at YouTube, whatever it happens to be. Oh, and speaking of YouTube, please come over to YouTube. Please subscribe. I need more people giving this channel a boost if we expect other people to be hearing it. So please, if you're finding value, share, subscribe, like, send it out to your network so other people can find value. Because let's face it, we're in it together. I'm Roger Haskett.